everybody, this is Tree from treeoflogic.com. Listen, if you see this flag behind me, that means I'm going to talk about something dealing with the police department. Remember, this flag is the thin blue line flag that represents law enforcement officers nationwide, okay? So anytime I talk about a story or I do a story that involves the police or has the police in it, understand I'm going to have this flag behind me representing the boys and girls in blue. Okay, so anyway, let's get started. I have some great news coming out of San Diego Police Department, and it involves an experiment that the police chief, the San Diego police chief, did on her department last year, and it has some great and very interesting results. Let me explain. Since the San Diego Police Department started placing body cams on police officers back in 2013, they noticed a significant drop in misconduct allegations and high-level use of force by police officers. So in 2016, every police officer, including pencil pushers, all right then, were required to wear body cameras. This was a mandatory uniform requirement, and all 1,200 police officers were issued body cameras, including the chief of police. This is great news. I thought this was awesome. It was an awesome experiment, and it had great results. Listen further. Now, when the year came to a close, a 9-page internal report was created which states that the cameras had to help more police officers get cleared of false allegations of police brutality, misconduct, racial slurs, discrimination, and excessive use of force. Imagine that, huh? This de-escalated the situation, and they found that the false allegations dropped down by 47%. Did you hear me, folks? All of these false allegations of, he called me a nigger, or he came after me because I was driving while black, and the whole, he beat me up and I didn't do nothing, or I was reading the Quran, I didn't have a gun. All of those lies stopped when these police officers, well, they didn't stop, excuse me, no. They went down by 47% when all of the police officers had body cameras on them. I've always been for body cams for police officers, more for the police officers than these heathens out here, these savages from the concrete jungle. Because I know, as a former police officer, I know exactly what's going on the streets. And it's a lot of lies and a whole lot of victimization. You know, it's really funny. You'll see a criminal go from a hard thug to a, oh, they hurt me. I mean, what was that? McKeith Lloyd is a prime example. This Negro killed his pregnant, did you hear me? His pregnant girlfriend. Then he killed a female police officer. And then what happens when they're taking him to the hospital? They beat me up. They beat me up. Feel sorry for me. This is what I'm talking about. This is the life of police officers. Anyway, I want to say that the citizens were told that they were being recorded, and once told, most of them shifted their behavior. So when the police officers would roll up on these savages and tell them, hey, you see this right here? Now, of course, I don't mean to be pointing at the coconuts, but the body cams are right in the center. Well, the San Diego Police Department's body cameras is center mass. It's right in the center of their uniforms. Now, you have some police departments who have the body cams that are attached to their, I think the upper lapel, I think you call this up here. So it's attached to their shoulders. But in the San Diego Police Department, it was center mass. So I'm not pointing to my girls. I'm just pointing to where the police officers would have their body camera. They're like, you see this right here? It's recording everything you're saying. It's recording everything you're doing. But enough of what I'm saying. I want you to watch this short clip that's going to explain further. Here we go.
I think approximately 125 cameras, and every officer from community service officers all the way up to the chief of police are issued a body cam. In regards to volatility, I think it actually would mitigate it. I think it would reduce it. I think if we, especially because we're encouraging officers to get out in front of it and advise people that they're being recorded, I think it's going to actually head those things kind of off at the pass, where we're not going to be seeing those types of levels of complaints. Not that we don't see an excessive amount of complaints against our officers anyway for discourteousness, but you know, in this type of instance, I think it actually puts the public on their best behavior as well when they're interacting with police officers. From what I've heard from the officers out in the field in just the last week or so, they're absolutely thrilled to have them. Yeah, they actually appreciate it. It's capturing so much more than just relying on their own testimony about what happened. Now we can rely on actual statements from people that are captured on video.
Police Chief Shirley Zimmerman said the statistics are evidence that body-worn cameras discourage violence. I totally agree. She goes on to say, and I quote, "This data is consistent with feedback received from police officers indicating that body-worn cameras help de-escalate some situations and results in use of lesser controlling force to gain compliance without the need for greater controlling defending forces such as tasers, the batons, and of course the pepper spray." So once these police officers would come upon the scene, you know, a lot of these people are taught from a young age, and if we learned that from Corinne Gaines, we saw with her own video camera how she reared her son. She reared him to fight the police. She reared him to hate the police. She reared him to actually never to comply with the police and to see the police as his enemy. This is not uncommon in the concrete jungle. This is very common in hood rats, these single black mothers who raise their children to be criminals or to be menaces to society and to combat and refuse to comply with the police. When the police officers are rolling up on them, before they start talking about you just doing this because I'm a black man, you just doing this because I'm black, they have their cameras on and they let them know, I just want you to know, sir or ma'am, that you're being recorded right now. Everything you're saying, everything you're doing is being recorded. And they'll point to the camera, whether it's center mass or it's on their shoulder. They'll point to the camera. Now, this doesn't work for all Negroes, okay? I just want y'all to know. This, you got some black people that are so freaking ignorant that they don't care if they are being recorded. If I haven't learned anything from watching the only reality TV that has ever been aired on television, the only reality TV show that has ever existed and still is true to its nature, is true reality, is the show called Cops. That show is not scripted, it's not rehearsed, it doesn't have a director. It's just, this is pure reality. If you have watched any show on Cops and they go into the hood, these niggas don't care that you see a big old camera with a microphone and all these lights. They don't care. They're still going to fight the police. They're still going to pull a gun on the police, maybe even try to stab the police. They're still going to be non-compliant. They're still going to act in an animalistic way. They don't care about being filmed. They ain't got nothing to lose. Hence why I support private jails, but I'm not gonna go on that. I got a special video about that coming up later. But this is what I'm talking about. You're gonna have those who are going to do what they wanna do regardless. And here's another point to prove what I'm saying. Those 4 nigglets up in Chicago who kidnapped that mentally handicapped white kid, okay, tortured him, scalped him, made him drink out of a toilet. And they filmed this live on Facebook. They did this with their camera phone. And do you know that even though they're on their own footage on their Facebook page, which has been removed for some reason, but oh well, it doesn't matter. Everybody has a copy of this. They have claimed innocent. All 4 of them have pleaded innocent. And you got footage that they recorded of themselves committing the crime. This is what I'm talking about. Nigger logic, nigger behavior. They don't care. For the most part, they don't care they're being filmed. However, let me tell you why this is good. This is good because this will cut down on these false lawsuits. This is going to save the city millions and millions of dollars in settlements. When you have someone who was either killed or who was who had excessive force used upon them because they attacked the police with a gun or with a knife, or they just tried to fight the police, you have the body camera to show everything that transpired from beginning to end. So now the city where the police department is held in don't have to count on the testimonies of the police officers. All they got to do is show the video footage. And this will cut down on all the settlements, because a lot of these cities are just settling because it costs more money to defend the police department than it does to actually, fight against it. You know what I mean? It's just, no, what did I say? Excuse me. It costs more money to defend the police department than to just go ahead and settle. So they just go ahead and settle. They give them the money and say, because we don't have the money and the resources to go ahead and defend all of these false lawsuits, or false allegations of discrimination, of racial discrimination, of police brutality. All of this is going to get cut in half. Actually, more. I would have to say this is going to lower this about at least 90%. At least 90%. Because if you look at the Mike Brown situation, that could have been solved if the officer had a body camera. The same thing with the Milwaukee riots. If that police officer had a body camera, and of course, Freddie Gray, if all of the police officers who were involved with Freddie Gray, which resulted in the Baltimore riots, if they all had a body camera, these riots, I don't know if I can say that they would not occur, because we see that the police officers who were dealing with Keith Scott had a body camera. It showed that this criminal had a gun. It showed him. It just showed everything that they said that they was doing. But the lies from Keith Scott's wife, from the neighbors, to his illegitimate children, to everybody, still they believed the lies of these people and prompted the riot that lasts about 3 to 5 days, I think. Instead of looking at the video footage that was taken from the body cam of one of the police officers that was there at the scene. So it's a hit and miss, but still, you wouldn't have to deal with the lawsuits. And that's my biggest thing, is that the lawsuits are going to really be cut down more than half. I would have to say at least a good 70 to 80%. And those who still going to try to go and challenge the courts are just going to get slammed when you have these body cameras as evidence that they're full of shit. Now, it also keeps people accountable when you tell these criminals, not all, I gotta tell you, because you're gonna have some nigglers and niggas who don't care that you are recording them, that show cops, proves my point, and the fact that those 4 nigglers who abused that poor mentally handicapped white kid, they filmed that whole entire incident, all their criminal activity themselves, and they're still pleading innocent. All 4 of them pleaded innocent. They say, we didn't do nothing, and didn't do nothing, and didn't do nothing. And they're still going to play innocent. So you're always going to have that exception to the rule. But for the most part, those who always want to quick to blame police officers for racial discrimination or police brutality, that's going to get cut because now they're going to be accountable and they're going to know that they are being watched with their body camera. Now, the police union president, Mr. Marvel, said that the statistics vindicates the union's longtime support for body cameras. I totally agree. He says, and I quote, "We feel it's a way to provide protection and security when people make complaints against police officers, but also provide transparency to the public, and it's what the public is looking for." You know, saying police officers and those of us who worked in law enforcement, we know what's up, but for the most part, the public don't know because they're hearing the rhetoric of Black Lives Matter. They're hearing the rhetoric of SJWs and criminals and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson, those niggas. And they just constantly just hearing all these lies about how the police are actively going after black people just because they're black. Well, now this will stop this, okay? Anyway, let me continue what he said. "In many police shootings, you rarely get to see how we got there. So this will help the community, the police, prosecutors, and politicians grasp what the full situation was and let us respond better." And he concludes the following: "It's also important that we have clear video footage. So I pay respect to the police chief and those who have been working on this." Now, that is a concern that many of us have had and are still having with a lot of the body cameras, but they are going to solve that come this April. Now, those of us who have seen the video footage of the Keith Scott shooting, the video footage looked like crap. It's very grainy. It's not clear, like crystal clear. How you see me right now, it's not clear like that. So they're going to solve this. They're going to upgrade the cameras. They're going to provide new software that's going to provide high definition to all of these body cameras so that you can clearly see the individual's face clearly, clear as day. You can see the features. You can hear exactly what's coming, what they're saying, what is being said. They're just going to have to upgrade these cameras, and it's going to be worth the money because, like I said, they're going to sell millions of dollars in lawsuits by upgrading these cameras. So that's what is the biggest concern right now, is getting the quality footage out there. And you need to do that by upgrading these body cameras to high definition body cameras, and also enhancing the audio quality of these body cameras so that we can get the clear picture of everything that has been said from beginning to end. And this will really, this is such good news. I love this story. I really, really love this story because this is really going to help clear and a lot of police officers of these false allegations, and it's going to stop these animals from being a victim of a situation that they caused in the first place. So, but like I said, it's not going to stop all of them, but I think 47% is a good number. And, we'll work up from there. But this is great. What do you think? Do you think this is a great idea? I love it. I have always been for body cameras for police officers, more for their protection than for the public protection. Because like I said, coming from that side of the fence, I know what is going on. So I really like this. This really helps them out tremendously. This will stop with all of the false allegations and the lawsuits and people getting paid just because they said that the police officer came after them because they're black or excessive police force. All this bullshit, the shit will just get cut down tremendously, and I love it. What do you think? You think this is a good idea? And also, do you also support the idea that we need to help them get that, or should I say, we don't have to help them, the city can pay for it, but do you also feel it's a good idea to upgrade these cameras to high definition so that you can see everything, so you can hear everything that's going on? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your intake. Are you excited about this as I am? I really hope that this year we get as many police officers. I wish all of them, but some of them don't have the budget, and it's going to take time. But because this is not a cheap thing, but I hope to have all police officers equipped with body cameras. I think this is an awesome idea. I want to know do you feel the same? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, be sure to subscribe. And I would also like to take time to thank my financial supporters. I love you guys. I told you I was going to start thanking you, and now I'm doing it. So thank you so much for financially supporting me. And if you're interested in doing the same, more information is located on the description box, as well as my website, treeoflogic.com. This is Tree, and I'll talk to you all later.